Welcome back to the Pulse of Peter B. I'm Peter Biancamano, still joined by Mr. Imperatore, founder and president of NY Waterway, and our political analyst, Josh Sotomayor Einstein. So, Mr. Imperatore, let's jump right into the Union Dry Dock. I'm sure it's an emotional time for you. There isn't much of a difference of how the Union Dry Dock was used under the previous owner compared to how you guys want to utilize it, correct?
That's correct.
That's correct, because we did have Donald LaLoya on, your senior vice president here at NY Waterway, and he did mention that it's going to be strictly used for a ferry maintenance facility that you're currently here in Weehawken. So,
if you wanted to design a perfect facility that the good Lord would etch and create, it's Union Dry Dock. It is just perfect for our needs and perfect for our the location of our need and purpose at the center of Hoboken, which is basically the center of our operation. And there are no other alternatives. You know, the mayor's kidding himself that there's an opportunity at
Bayonne,
Erie,
Lackawanna, right?
You know, it's a joke. Everybody who's had any part of that, now they haven't let the study out, but it's well known that neither of those locations will work.
Right.
You can't get into Erie, Lackawanna. Physically. You can't get trucks. You can't get fuel. There's no room in the river to recreate what we already own at Union Dry Dock.
And that's what's fair. You do already own the property. And it's funny, we had Ron Hine on from Front for a Better Waterfront, and he basically dropped the same information that Mayor Bala's been dropping, that Bayonne is a more suitable location and Lackawanna.
He's full of it.
Right. And
he doesn't speak the truth.
Exactly.
And he
what's more
doesn't
amazing,
know, or he's deliberately misstating
what's more
is
amazing,
commonly known. And so the idea that there's an alternative is bunk. It's just not true. We absolutely need that property. If you could see the conditions under which our maintenance people have to work, you would wonder. Believe it or not, I'm not exaggerating. You would wonder why they'd work for us under these conditions. Thank God they do, but they are at such disadvantage and such inefficiency, and frankly, it is hobbling physically and operationally for our men to be forced on. We have a little spit of a piece of land that we hardly fit on, and Union Dry Dock is a lifesaver for the company, and why they'd want to park on the best and only remaining property on the waterfront, I don't know, because there are 21 parks now. I understand they're paying for a park at the tune of something like $100 million.
right?
Right now.
Northwest Resilient, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We need it. We bought it legitimately. It took us 10 years of scouting this property, maybe longer, but 10 active years. And we bought it, and we own it. And we're a credit to the American system of enterprise.
Right.
We created this out of nothing, this ferry company. And we've done all this work to save people time and convenience.
I think what Peter was trying to point out before is that Ron Hines of the Fund for Better Waterfront, when we interview him, said that perhaps New York Waterways, if they relocated to a different location, could get some sort of state or federal aid to build that upland space.
It's bull.
But right now, it does.
It's
The current
bull.
property is not going to cost the city anything, right?
Correct.
They pass these ideas off as if you snap your fingers and you get all, produce another location. Well, God didn't produce it. God produced Union Dry Dock. And I tell you, it is a survival issue of our company, for our company. And we employ 400 people, most of them are all local.
As you mentioned, right?
Said earlier, Hudson County people.
And it's so important that the viewers know in the city of Hoboken what Ron Hine and the Bala administration, right now, like as Josh mentioned, New York Waterway owns the property of Union Dry Dock, which means that there will be no taxpayer
We
money.
own it.
They own it. They don't get
fee.
any government. You don't get any government subsidies.
No.
What Ron and the Bala administration are proposing are for government subsidies to come out, which come out of taxpayer money if they want to relocate to Bayonne or Lackawanna Terminal. And that's what the residents of the city of Hoboken have to understand, that what they are proposing is probably going to increase their taxes later in the future, or as Mr. Imperatore said, bull. I mean, going forward, right or wrong.
Yes, absolutely.
So many at City Hall have called on Governor Murphy to step in to this conflict that's going on over at the Union Dry Dock. Why do you think that he really hasn't?
Well, he has once.
Okay.
Don't forget, they went for eminent domain.
That's right, with New Jersey
once.
Transit, you're right.
And I'm told they're preparing another such effort to try to acquire the land out from under us. We don't know where the hell we go. There's no other place to go,
Right.
unless it would take 7 years and $100 million. Donald the lawyer is an expert, and we price our waterfront work all the time, so we know our costs. It would cost us a fortune. But it would take time. We don't know even, incidentally, we have the permits, both federally and state-wise.
Just the local permits that are being held up.
Yeah, we'd have to go for other permits. It would take years. It took us years to get these.
Right.
So Mr. Hines can snap his fingers and have us move elsewhere. So his whimsy, his whimsical need or wish, is satisfied.
Right.
But it ain't going to happen that way.
Right. And we spoke about this before the show. We spoke about this during the show. The Union Dry Dock has everything you need.
Everything. It's to replace it. I don't want to complicate this. And it would take years and years, and that cost alone would be $100 million, and you know who would have to pay for it.
My family, Josh's family,
Right.
And the taxpayers.
Because
Absolutely.
that's what we already own at Union Dry Dock. It has all the needs that we would wish for.
Right.
Upland, it has long waterfront access, water. Deep water alone is a very big asset, a very big need.
Right.
And Union Dry Dock has it.
And when we did have Donald on the show, Mr. LaLoya, he did explain to us that there's not going to be that much work that was different from the Union Dry Dock, from how the Union Dry Dock
That's
used to.
true.
Because of course, the city of Hoboken was saying, well, they might do work on the overnights and so on and so forth.
We
and
work
they're basically
inside
trying to
the-
scare the neighbors over at
inside.
Maxwell Park Place.
Right, we
Yeah.
work inside the boats.
Exactly.
And we're very neighborly conscious of our presence and our work. We have not had one, we operate within 100 feet of very expensive luxury housing here. We have never had a complaint on noise, fumes, or anything. Not anything, not one complaint. I don't exaggerate, and I never lie.
Right.
And I'm telling the truth. And then Maxwell Place is 800 feet. Do you know how many cars and trucks and buses go through within about an equidistant out of the Lincoln Tunnel?
Oh, please.
Does anybody think of that?
That's a
With
good
all
point.
the fumes, you know, hundreds of millions of vehicles a year. We have the statistics on it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you know what's funny, Mr. Imperatore, and we spoke about this a few weeks ago, is that the city of Hoboken is craving commercial business during the day. And they want more foot traffic to help out the local mom and pop shops like my parents own during the day as well. And a local business is trying to take over their rightful land, and they're giving them trouble because they want to park. Peter Biancamano, your hostess with the mostest from the Pulse with Peter B. Folks, we're going to be taking a little bit of a 2-week hiatus. I hope you're not going to miss us so much, but we do need to take a little bit of a break. But you're not going to want to miss our all-new episodes starting probably mid-July. Pay attention to our Facebook page for more updates. Get on our YouTube page, hit the subscribe button. You can see all of our past episodes and enjoy the Pulse on everything you need to know. It's just good. Josh, do you have anything to add? Because we are running out of time here. So,
I think maybe if you want to talk about any community benefit that the Union Dry
we
Dock will have.
proposed a finished walkway on Sinatra Place.
right.
We proposed a fishing pier on the north side in the Hoboken Cove. We proposed a kayak landing there. That's just the first day we talked to Bala. We told him about this, and when we do something, we do it first class. We refine every detail. I was famous when I first started the ferry business for my gardens, and he never listens to anything. He never talks to us. He talks to the newspapers because it's in his interest, probably politically, to pound his chest. He's over my dead body.
That's right. He
will
did
they
say
have
that.
it.
That's a direct quote.
Over my dead body.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no one asked him to give up his life,
Right.
you know.
Right.
But we need it. We need it desperately, and he doesn't care, doesn't listen. It is a survival issue for us. Over time, it will erode and corrode the strength of our company if we don't get Union Dry Dock. And he makes light of it. Just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Well, we wish we could, but we already own Union Dry Dock.
That's right.
And it has a history, incidentally, of 130 plus years of continuous use in maritime activity.
Well, it doesn't just sound like it's necessary for the company. That's obviously true, but it sounds like it's necessary for all the commuters in New York and New Jersey that are using New York waterways to go to work every day.
Absolutely. You know, we move over 30,000 people a day. We extrapolate from the past 5 years, the next 5 years. We'll be up with all of the development that's taking place. We're the only ferry in town. There's nobody else that
course
does the kind of commutation that we do. We'll be up to 42,000 a day. We're building boats all the time, adding boats because the service demands are there. We work with the Port Authority. We work with New Jersey Transit in very close partnerships. We work with the state of New York up the river on crossing the river with routes, ferry routes. So we won the bid on the L train, and then
That's right.
the governor changed plans by the state of New York.
Right. So before we go, because most of our viewership is go ahead, please.
One big point, big point, and we are certain that the state government leadership, the governor's office, is aware of the very precarious situation with the tunnels and the condition of the two old tunnels. And worried. Incidentally, this land is really public land. Union Dry Dock, even though we own it, it would become public land in the event we sold out, or in the event we went out of business. The government, the state of New Jersey, would always have it for a ferry maintenance facility. So it's in the long-term public interest.
Right. So before we go, most of our viewership is from the city of Hoboken. Is there anything you would like to say? Because they're really only hearing one side of the story, and we here at The Pulse like to get all sides of the story.
I would say if they knew us and knew the issue, they'd understand how vital this is to all of us. Unfortunately, it's not a very exciting and sexy issue, you know?
Right.
Who the hell cares about that ferry company? Well,
the commuters do certainly. They take it every day.
we probably handled on Thursday night 10,000 additional people who would have had a terrible time getting home.
Right.
In an hour and a half, we mobilized our boats. We have such flexibility on the river. That's what's so important. Politicians don't recognize it. The river is critical to major calamities.
Right.
And so I would say the people of Hoboken and the people of the region have a big stake in us, even though we're privately held. But we work hard, we love what we do, we take great pride in what we do. We're good, old-fashioned Americans. We work our tails off, and much of it is in the public interest.
Well, Mr. Imperatore, thank you so much. Mr. Arthur Imperatore, founder and president of New York Waterway. For Josh Sotomayor Einstein, our political analyst, we want to thank you for your service and we want to thank you for your time. And we wish you a blessed, happy 4th of July coming up this week. Join us next week, folks, for The Pulse on everything you need to know. I'm Peter Biancamano. Have a great week.